States are in trouble. Europe has Greece, the U.S. has California, Illinois, Nevada, New Jersey, Michigan, and New York, each of them choking on unsustainable debt. It was Richard Russell, June 1st, 2010. 32 states have run out of the funds to make unemployment benefit payments, and the federal government has been supplying these states with funds so they can make their payments to the unemployed. In some cases, states have borrowed billions. 25 state employment funds are now broke, with that number expected to reach 40 within 2 years. As of May 20th, the total balance outstanding by 32 states and the Virgin Islands is $37.8 billion. California has borrowed over $7 billion. In Rhode Island, in late May, 53,000 individual income tax refunds, totaling about $36.3 million, were being held up because of cash flow problems, i.e., the large state debt that came due in June. In California, Democrats are planning to raise $5 billion in taxes on oil companies, on individuals, on a vehicle license, and on alcohol, a 60% tax. They are planning to take over millions of dollars in nickel and dime deposits on recyclable bottles and cans. Desperate people in desperate times will resort to desperate measures. New York State is considering raising state income taxes by 11% on anyone making over $200,000. A Miami commissioner recently said that that city's best hope is bankruptcy, and rating agencies just downgraded the municipal bonds of 7 U.S. cities to junk bond status. Here's some real irony. The states are so broke they're borrowing from the federal government to make burgeoning unemployment benefits, prompting the federal government, which is also broke, to borrow the funds from China. Personal income is dropping. Real personal income, excluding government handouts, is now $500 billion lower than it was 16 months ago. Personal income receipts on assets, mostly interest income, declined $8.3 billion in April. These are not recovery levels of income. They are Depression-era declines of personal income. On 5/26, USA Today wrote, paychecks from private businesses shrank to their smallest share of personal income in U.S. history for the first quarter of 2010. At the same time, government-provided benefits from Social Security, unemployment insurance, food stamps, and other programs rose to a record high in the same quarter. The result is a major shift in the source of personal income from private wages to government programs. A record low 41.9% of the nation's personal income came from private wages and salaries in the first quarter. The trend is not sustainable, says University of Michigan economist Donald Grimes. According to Bill King, writing on May 4th, 2010, government socialism was 69% of March income growth. The growth of transfer payments, entitlements, was more than double wages and salary. And this is the great recovery that Obama and the Fed and Wall Street are touting. Other indicators for a renewed recession. Consumer confidence is falling. A recent ABC poll said that 92% of respondents say that the state of the economy is bad or poor. The poll has the lowest confidence reading since December 2008. Other polls indicate, on average, 80% bearishness on the part of the public, and 72% of the public think that Congress is made up of economic idiots who are ruining the economy and the nation. Income tax payments and employment taxes are down. As of May 20th, 2010, IRS data shows that withheld taxes and employment taxes declined 3.6% year-on-year. Proof that personal and business income is declining and the jobs are still decreasing. So our socialist government wants to raise tax rates, which will further crater the economy. Business tax receipt for the year ending September 29 were down an incredible 2009, excuse me. We're down an incredible 55%. Personal bankruptcies are exploding. Personal bankruptcy filings are up 15% in April, year on year, running at 146,000. versus 158,000 in March, which was the highest number of bankruptcy filings since Congress revised the bankruptcy code in 2005. Bankruptcies for March and April are running at an annualized rate of 1.82 million, hardly a sign of an end of a recession or a new recovery. 40 million Americans on food stamps, the highest number in U.S. history. Will these broke welfare recipients help fuel the recovery? Corporate earnings are distorted. 80% of the so-called profits recovery is due to the financials, i.e. big banks and brokerages, who are recipients of the lion's share of the government bailout funds. Earnings are flat or down in the remaining 90% of the economy, and most corporate earnings are masked to lift their stock prices. They keep two sets of books, one for the public, where they reflect high earnings income, and one for the IRS, where they reflect low earnings income. And Bill King raises the question, where did the Wall Street financial giants derive their huge earnings from? From mark-to-model fantasy on crappy paper and derivatives, reducing credit loss reserves when they should be increased, and various accounting gimmicks. That is exactly what occurred pre-crisis. In short, there is no earnings recovery. Automaker pensions underfunded by $17 billion. The pension funds at General Motors are underfunded by $17 billion and may fail if the companies do not return to profitability. California public pension funds are underfunded by over $500 billion. U.S. consumers are tapped out. Instead of using their homes as ATMs to support unwarranted consumption, as they did in the 1990s, consumers now employ strategic mortgage defaults so they can continue to consume above their means. And without credit cards and government welfare, consumer spending would be plunging. Walmart reports that its U.S. customers are living on food stamps and government benefits, with more customers than ever living from paycheck to paycheck. 26 million unemployed workers are by necessity exhausting their savings. Millions have lost their homes. 40 million Americans receive food stamps, and forecasters expect 1.8 million Americans to declare personal bankruptcy this year. Will these people borrow and spend us into new prosperity? What do you think? Global commodity prices are collapsing. The Journal of Commerce Commodity Index fell 57% in May, 2 years after a decline that foreshadowed the worst recession in 50 years. I'm going to call it quits here. I've got one more tape, and it's going to be the conclusion. This is just something to think about, folks. This is what's happening. This is not made up. This is real. Liquidate yourself. Get yourself out of debt as quickly as possible. Soon you won't be able to. Peace.